What is up, y'all? Steinberg here with my first ever stream. I've been a longtime player of Kingdoms of Amalur, had the original for 360, now bought the remaster, Kingdoms of Amalur Re-Reckoning. Kind of just had the idea to sit down, stream this. I love the game, would love to get it more recognition, hopefully get a sequel sometime in the future. But, just wanted to do sort of a playthrough, sort of a challenge for myself. At times the game can feel a little unbalanced in that you get certain powers that can really just make your character insanely powerful. So we're going to be doing a little bit of a challenge here. I'm going to be doing a hammer-based build with probably scepters as my ranged weapon, and really just make it a stun-based build. I'm also going to challenge myself by not selling anything, or not buying anything from any of the merchants. So this is just going to be me going into survival mode. I also think that with blacksmithing and creating your own gear being so OP, I'm going to do my best to just go with whatever the game drops for me. Really maximizing the use of unique pieces and set armor. So without any further ado, let's roll. And like I said, I have played this game quite a few times. I'm actually going to just go ahead and go a new game. And since I am going to be playing, well, I could go crazy, but since this is a challenge for me, I'm not sure how this is going to go. I am just going to play on normal. Flame me if you want to. I'm really not super good at games. People may tell me, oh, get good, mate, but...
From the beginning, we were wrong. And only now, well into the second decade of the conflict, have we begun to understand the mistakes we have made. We lived in harmony among the Fae, in a world awakened to new magic. Perhaps we should have foreseen what might be born on this rising tide. What force might awaken. A force powerful enough to twist even the eternal and immutable Fae folk. But Gadflow, the new king of the Winter Court, surprised us all. Singular among his people, he was all that other Fae were not. Aggressive, ambitious, visionary. He had power like none we had ever seen. Terrible and deadly. Gadflow and his followers, the Tuatha Deon, believed that a new god was to be born in the east, beneath Gadflow's crystalline fortress of Amathen. In the name of that god, they marched to war against the young races of Amalur. Against a mortal army, no matter the power of their god, we might have been victorious, but the Fae are creatures of magic, not bound by the laws of life and death. Each Tuatha fallen on the battlefield would soon rise again, for the Fae do not know death as we do. How could we stand against such a force? For 10 years the war raged. For 10 years the armies of Men and Alpha fought and died. But as our numbers dwindled, we knew that it was only a matter of time. Our fate had been written. At least, that is what we believed. Until you died.
What do you think this one is then? Alpha? Garan? Could even be a Jotun. All this is a surprise, eh, Garan?
Eyes on the job, boy. Don't matter what it is. Dead's dead. And be thankful for that. All we've seen. Go on and pull back the sheet, though. It'll need to be in our report, one way or the other.
And now, as I mentioned, I have played this game countless times. I've seen all of these cutscenes minimum 10 times. I'm going to do my best not to talk over them. If you don't want any spoilers, feel free to skip by them. You're not going to miss any of the walkthrough. Entirely your call. Hopefully you will pick up the game, so, there will be spoilers in that regard, clearly. But, and yeah, as far as, playing on normal, radical thought in certain communities, I do think that games should be played for fun. There's no competitive, line for Kingdoms of Amalur as far as I know, other than, minimal speedrunners. But, in my opinion, that kind of takes the fun out of a game, trying to find every nook and cranny. I'm sure some people enjoy it. Not really my taste, but yeah. So anyway, I'll quit rambling and let's get to the walkthrough. As far as my challenges, I'm not going to be making my own gear. I'm not going to be utilizing merchants much. So blacksmithing really has no value for me. So the Almain are probably not going to be the pick for me. Then you have the Varani, lockpicking, detect hidden, and mercantile. There again, mercantile, since I'm not going to be utilizing merchants too heavily, is not going to be very helpful. That said, that's only one racial bonus point that's wasted, so that might be our best bet. I still don't really know how the devs anticipated people to pronounce this. Leosulfar, it would be my best guess. Here you've got Dispelling, Sagecraft, and Alchemy. Dispelling is going to be utilized for a quest line or two, but mostly it's going to be used for opening cursed chests throughout the world. So that is actually one of my favored skills. Sagecraft is going to be for your creating gems, which there again, since we're not going to be customizing our own gear, it's really only going to be useful if we find weapons with gem slots already in them. But that isn't a total waste of a racial bonus, and then Alchemy is going to allow us to create our own potions and pick up reagents throughout the world, so that is definitely a good one to have. The Leosulfar looking like a good pick. Then the Docklefar I mentioned for this build, I'm going to focus on hammers, stuns, so stealth is definitely not going to be a part of this build. Sagecraft and Persuasion are both good, but that's 2 racial bonus points that we're going to waste. So I believe Leosulfar is going to be my racial pick for this one. As far as our deity, air is probably a good one. The lightning damage, that is going to carry some stun benefits. Order with 5% health and mana, since I mentioned, I may want to go ahead and use some sorcery in there. That's probably a good one to have. Justice as well, being that it's going to be a hammer heavy build. That's another good one. If you go no deity, yeah, you get the 1% experience bonus, but there is a level cap in this game. With the DLC, with Re-Reckoning, you do get 50 level cap, but at some point that's going to be pointless. So I would definitely go ahead and pick some type of deity for some patron bonus. And the lightning resistance really isn't going to be very useful. Oh, I think we go, let's go with the health. Why not? And then, of course, you do get your preset faces, but then you get some pretty good customization depth here, I think, considering this was a game made in 2012, which I believe was just before Skyrim. So at the time that this was originally released, this was one of the better, probably not the best, but one of the better character customization menus that you got. Personally, I don't really fiddle with it too much.
Not so far. A long way from Icebrine too. Still, he's in better shape than most we see. All right then. Make sure it goes into the report. You know he'll want all the details.
Amazing how well the body held up. Better than I've seen.
I'm just glad it's not moving. Must have been born under a lucky star, this one.
Anything else we need?
Unless you'd like to name him, I think we're done. Put him with the others.
So it is low so far. The J is completely silent. There you go. And then again, I'm not super fussed about a name. I'll just keep the Lorcan.
Well, that's it for you then. Better luck next time.
And so now we start the tutorial level. As you play through the tutorial, you're going to find that you end up with a couple of abilities which may or may not end up useful for the build that you plan. Don't worry about that. At some point we will be able to visit an NPC called the Fate Weaver, and they will be able to reset all of our skills, abilities, and our destiny. And then you can rebuild from scratch from there, which I will be doing as soon as I possibly can. Now, here we have our first bit of lore. It's also kind of a useless item. So what I plan on doing here, since I really don't want to use merchants, I'm gonna just go ahead and take these, and everything that I don't end up using, I'm just going to put it in my junk folder and end up destroying it entirely. Which actually, I guess, since I scrolled over there, I should, you can automatically put things in your junk folder, which is really nice, especially being that you are somewhat limited in your inventory with 70 slots. Things will stack up to 10, so you do want to be mindful of that. And then they have really just simple controls for the junk. Once we get something in there, we'll be able to either remove it with A, destroy the singular highlighted item with Y, or destroy everything in our junk folder with X. But I'm sure we'll get more on that later. And actually, while we're thinking about it, within our items we still have this. We'll just go ahead and add that to our junk.
They're all over. Run!
Scatter, children of dust! Scatter before the might of the
And here,
Tuatha!
similar to Link in the Legend of Zelda games, our character does have a penchant for destroying any type of box. And now your main weapon attack is going to be the X button, or you can choose to map it differently. And then, of course, you want to be able to dodge with B. There again, I believe that you can remap the dodge if you choose.
Help! Anybody!
And then also in dungeons, you'll come to these things, which are sort of jump points. And A is kind of your go-to action button. So we'll just go ahead and hop on down.
Come? No matter. You'll all die.
And then some weapons will have an extra attack type. So for the long sword that we found, if you hit X on a delay, it kind of gives you this like nice uppercut type of...
Oh, thank you. Thank you. If you hadn't come along... Wait. I've seen you before. On the slab. You were dead. It worked. By the dome, it worked. You're alive.
And then in any chat, you're going to get a couple of different dialogue options. One of the things I would love for them to implement in the sequel is for your chats to have some type of actual consequence. But unfortunately, if you've read anything about the background for this game, it was kind of rushed development due to poor management. So, but yeah, you can just kind of pick whatever you want for flavor. At times being a little bit cheeky, or, you know, playing somewhat
you
straightforward.
died. I don't know how or even where, but your body was remade in the Well of Souls, and somehow it worked. The well restored your soul to your body, and it worked. We must get you to Professor Hughes right away. He'll have questions for you.
And then there are also going to be response options that get you a little more lore. For example, we can ask Encel, who are these attackers?
Oh my, you don't know? Oh, perhaps the process damaged your memory. They are the Tuatha Deon, the enemies of all the young races. We've never seen them this far inland, not even during the invasion. I don't know why they are here. Hughes may have the answer to that as well. You must stay alive and reach him.
Personally, I'm not huge on hearing about lore myself, and I don't think there's an achievement for it. So, for the most part, I'm going to not ask those lore responses. And here, I'll decide to be a little bit cheeky. I have some questions myself.
Oh, no doubt. But we must get to Hughes. He'll be in his study on the ground floor. The Tuatha are coming in through the lower levels. If we hurry, we should be able to beat them to the top. Take these. They'll help keep you safe long enough to get to Hughes. Now let's get going. Let me get this door.
Yeah, you go ahead and get the door, and I'm just gonna keep
Right this way.
destroying some
You go first.
crates. Seeing if I can get a little bit more gold. There you go.
This is what they're after. Our greatest invention. The Well of Souls. Imagine an end to war. An end to death.
I thought I saw something sparkling over there. Every time that I start a new game, I'm like, you know, I know that there's nothing in this pool, but I always check. And I have no idea why. I guess I just don't trust my memory.
We're in one of the storerooms. See if you can find anything useful.
And here we have our first bit of duplicate equipment. Ultimately, I am going to want to do something with a little bit more armor, being that I'm going for a stun-based build. So we'll go ahead and equip that. And then lockpicks, we're going to need those for opening any locked chests that we find throughout the world. So we'll definitely want a stockpile of those. And then, of course, better than nothing. Better than nothing.
Wait! Do you hear something? More to offer! To need more than just that sword. That one had a bow. Get it?
Double kill. What you got? And actually, now that we're on this screen, might as well take some time and clean up our inventory. Get some stuff into that junk folder. And so now, remember we put that longbow into our secondary weapon slot. That is going to be automatically mapped to our Y button. So as soon as we come around this corner, you heard the change in music. We're going to
Archers
be...
up ahead. Best shoot them before they see us.
I think I got hit once, but that wasn't bad. More junk, but we will definitely take the 5 lockpicks. Wow. There we go. Sniped. How you like that? Once again, going for a little bit of a might-based build. So we'll go ahead and equip that versus our torn leggings.
Daggers are deadly if you catch an enemy unaware. Their speed more than makes up for their size.
And now, as Encel says, these daggers are a quicker melee weapon. They don't really work with the build that I have in mind for this playthrough, but for the tutorial you are going to need them equipped for the next part, and you'll see why.
More up ahead. If you can sneak up on them with your daggers, you should be able to finish them quickly and quietly.
And it always makes me kind of smirk how bad of a whisperer Encel is. Quickly and quietly. It'd be really funny if they had some type of like contextual thing there, but it is the tutorial, so they're not gonna mess you up right away. And here again, you know, stealth is an optional method of playthrough. You can go for daggers or fey blades to do this, but really that's just not what I've got in mind for this playthrough, but that's okay. Another lockpick, wonderful. And some gold, not too bad.
Cave blossoms only respond in the presence of magic. Perhaps there is more to you than it seems.
And here we actually discover the one standard ability, or starting ability, I guess, that's actually going to be useful for this build, the Storm Bolt.
Incredible! What are you?
These robes, those are going to be, as you can probably guess, with the mana regen buff, more for a sorcery type of build that's not really going to be useful for our main weapon, which will be that hammer. So we're just going to go ahead and put that in our junk folder as well. And then you get these random buff potions. They will increase certain aspects of your character. The Serpent's Venom, increasing both, actually giving you base poison damage as well as ramping your existing poison damage. That, again, for this build is not going to be useful. And really, I've just always kind of just not even used these at all. I don't even take up inventory space with them. However, being that I may end up with weaker gear, maybe it's worth hanging on to them this playthrough. And actually, one thing we can do to make it a little more likely that they get used is go into our inventory, go to the consumables in this case, and for that minor Serpent's Venom, I can actually map it to my item radial. And so we'll just throw it up there, I think. And with this, you can actually have 8 items, 8 consumables mapped here. actually, I guess I should say 8 items full stop, because there will be a quest item that you'll want to map for easy access later on, and then you can actually go ahead and just hop back out to this menu. And the way that you access that, it's going to be automatically mapped to your left bumper for those of you on Xbox. These hand wraps, once again, that mana regen, that's going to be for a sorcery build. We'll go ahead and junk those, but we'll take the free gold. And then this really only comes into play in the tutorial and one side quest line, but you can use things that deal fire damage to knock these out.
Burn a path through. Not more spiders. Burn them. Burn them.
Old shoes, once again, those are going to be a sorcery-based equipment. The skull and bones are completely useless, so we'll junk those and we'll take the mana potion. Typically, I wouldn't pick up those skull and bones, but since I'm just going to be destroying everything in my junk anyway, I don't really care if they temporarily take up an inventory slot. But just for clarification, they really have no purpose. I don't think they're even worth any money. Lockpick and minor healing potions, I will take both of those things. Yeah, we're moving, man. Nothing in that room. Copy of what we've already got, so we'll junk it. Rusty leg plates. Copy of what we already got, we'll junk it. We will definitely take the repair kits. These battered armor and more leggings, once again, we had those already. Those are more for a finesse-based build. We're going to go ahead and junk those. These crude iron daggers are already in better shape than the rest of our equipment, so let's take those for a second just to see. Oh yeah, see, these crude iron daggers have actually degraded by 1 point, so it won't let me junk them though, because they're part of the tutorial. That makes sense.
But we'll give you the speed. This is where we part ways. But take whatever you want from this armory. We might have a few things that would fit you. Just make sure you get to Hughes. We can hold off the Tuatha here.
And here you actually get your first persuasion check. As you can see, I've got a 5% chance of success, so probably not going to succeed here, but let's give it a shot anyway.
Stay here and slow down the Tuatha. But this is the armory after all. Check the chests. We might have a few things that would fit you. With luck, I'll see you on the outside. I'll see you on the outside. If fate were simple.
And we'll finish looting the chests here.
That's why mages prefer it.
And that is gonna take us, about 2/3 of the way through the tutorial. I am going to stop the video there for now. Been a pleasure, everyone. And I'll see you next time.